built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us in another terrific Tuesday's edition of Talk Today. And I started things off with that savoring flavor that, well, I'll tell you about it later after one. Because then Susan's going to say, what? Well, Cayman Arts Festival. Well, you want to know more about it? I'll tell you. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a chance to chat briefly about the Cayman Arts Festival, and I say this that one, to encourage people, but two, to invite, constructive commentary so that if I say something that isn't correct, people can guide me. But for me, especially in the last, couple of years in particular, but the way sometimes life has been sort of not just evolving, almost revolving, we need to ensure that we draw close to each other, be supportive, nurturing, kind, considerate. And a good fellow I hadn't seen in the longest time. One of the few times I may be accused of talking out of school. Probably if 5 minutes, that we engage in quick exchange was probably insufficient, But someone, that leaves an indelible mark on you, he said, what we're lacking is love, right? And there we are waiting to conduct a transaction separately. And the quick encounter, nothing is a coincidence. Love. So Maria says, we look at what is happening. And to think of the Cayman Arts Festival, the love you show the students, the love that the audience gets from the performers, the love that the performers obviously demonstrate in their craft, it's that love. I mean, yesterday was National Chocolate Day, I think, right? Show love through chocolate and flowers. So welcome on. Talk to us about the challenges, huh?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you and to all your listeners.
We put a smile on your face, man.
Yes, I saw you eating cakes and chocolate here before. I'm drooling here. Well, it's nice to talk about love. Now we have a teacher that can focus on love for students,
right,
and love for arts better than myself. Yesterday I just have to deal with the love for my wife, and that was it.
Lucky you, man.
Yeah,
some must know how that.
I have to. It was Valentine's Day. You are forced to do it.
Really? We don't do anything at all.
You don't?
No.
No. You're smart.
I know.
So what do you?
We don't do any. Well, obviously we're at school all day, so we're really busy, and then obviously we had choirs and rehearsals after school. So I think that when you've been together a long time, like I have, a very long time, that you kind of you're stuck with that person, and you're kind of grateful for being stuck with them.
Are you?
I am grateful for being stuck.
Let's hear this now.
I'm grateful for being stuck with my other half. I really am. I'm very lucky. It's my husband works at John Gray with me, so he's a musician as well. So
she's being smart. She's pivoting quite nicely.
yeah.
You just heard Naomi Allnut, the music teacher at John Gray and choir director of Cayman Youth Choir.
No, but if I might,
Of course.
I saw you come in, and Marius, to his credit, he did say, you have a class and you'll be here as quickly as you can, and we certainly appreciate it. And I saw you, just getting assembled, and so I was just talking to Marius. I was thinking of love, and I just shared the love that you have for the students.
She's
right?
coming after the
Yeah.
class. She's not
Right.
postponing. She's not skipping anything.
No. This is the commitment, and
Yeah.
this is where, and I'll be mindful in that I was sharing just prior. A gentleman, who was standing in line, and it was a quick exchange. Hadn't seen in a while, and he reminded us that where we're lacking in society, no matter where, is love. That genuine love that you have. Right?
And I'm really, really fortunate, I think. A lot of people in the workplace don't love their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I am so passionate about my job.
Mm-hmm.
I would fight tooth and nail for our students because I believe in them so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I love my job because I always feel like being a teacher is one of the greatest gifts that
It's a
we
calling.
have. It really is. I mean, I have to say I never wanted to be a teacher. It was never in my plan. But as soon as I started doing it, I knew that, this sounds really cheesy, I'm sorry. I knew that I could make a difference. And to be in a job where you feel like even just a small amount, you're touching the lives of the students that you're involved with, that's so rewarding. I really, for myself, couldn't imagine doing another job. And I'm very lucky that I have a job I love, but also that I work in a place where I really feel like I'm able to connect with the students and to help them understand more about the world, themselves, and to be better people. But I learn from them as well, and that's so important.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a relationship. It's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
It will be a nice transition because what I want to say to strengthen what Naomi said, Cayman Arts Festival is lucky, it's blessed to have a teacher with this passion, because you could see that in the transformation of one of our programs, Cayman Youth Choir. This program blossomed in about, 1-2 years.
Yeah, two
I mean, we were having just 12, 13, under 20
And this was
in
because
the choir.
the people that directed it before me chose to do that. They wanted to have smaller numbers, but I kind of in my head had that I wanted it to be a more inclusive group for everyone. And as we've done that, obviously our numbers have grown hugely. So if we had everybody who signed on to the choir coming to rehearsals now, we'd have about 110 students. Obviously now things are a little bit different, so we've kind of dropped in numbers. So that's a huge uptake, and we've gone from one choir to now we have 4 choirs by age group. We've extended the age range from 4 up to 20, although Fiona, our oldest student, is actually a helper as well. So yeah, we have a huge range, and I would like to think that the students come along and they not only love the music that they're making, but they love the relationships that they're able to form with people from different schools, different backgrounds, different countries.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part. I mean, right before I came on air, a very good friend, she was telling me sometimes we don't see ourselves as patient, but where there's love, like the relations that we have, you have that patience. I can imagine as a teacher, you got 20 or 200 students, just the sheer number of trying to keep track, trying to listen and hear what is it you're asking. That could be frustrating, right? But that love, that answer, not calling. And maybe when you come back from the break, Marius, we see the organizational sort of challenges at times. Nothing to do with politics in a sense, nothing to do with personalities, not even the protocols, procedures, or anything else. It's just sometimes the way it is. But now all of that into the mix probably makes it a little bit more challenging. And how do we navigate, what is 2020?
2022.
No, so 2020 again, 2?
I know, exactly.
That doesn't sound good, man. All right, so we're going to make it better, right? And I think there was a time before last that you were here when I left, we were doing some voice exercises, and that sounded good. I mean, people said, is that Neil Diamond or is that Billy Joel?
Have you been practicing still?
I have been practicing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, all in my head. So if Marius will take the lead, when we come back, we're going to sing. All right?
I can't wait.
Me. Yeah, it's going to be great. What was it? You know, Susan hangs out with the young people. She said, it's going to be epic. After the break, we invite you to rejoin us.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Shoe love is true love. And with the Valentine's Week sale on at Le Classique, we're sure you'll find your soulmate. 10, 20, 30, 40, up to 50% off all shoes for men and women. Le Classique in the Strand today through February 19th. Find the perfect shoe fit for you. 10, 20, 30, 40, up to 50% off all shoes. Le Classique in the Strand, open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sale on now through Saturday, February 19th. Shoe love is true love. Le Classique in the Strand. Happy Valentine's.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us. I know someone's had to dig really, really deep some days, and if you do what Susan and I do, she does poetry, I do chocolate. It works. Marius, what do you do, man?
I work hard these days. It's a very difficult beginning of the year. Before starting with the answer of one of your questions, how is doing Cayman Arts Festival today?
Mm-hmm.
I want just to add something that we previously discussed. If in the past we were having Cayman Youth Choir just opening some events with 1-2 songs, now last year and this year, I'm not talking about their own events outside of the festival. They are included in the festival. They are part of the festival. They have their own event, sold out last year. This year they opened the festival on Sunday, and we also hope after this show, with your help, we might have again sold out event. I will leave on this Naomi to talk more about the choir. But coming back to how Cayman Arts Festival is doing, we were doing well till Tropical Storm Grace. And then COVID came. And I start checking with other executive directors of festivals in Europe, and said, "Oh, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
This is what we struggle for the past 2 years. You had when you're having events, we are so I can't find the word. Envy you. We are envy you that you are still able to have events with public, and suddenly." We still can do it based on the current regulations, 100 indoor, 250 outdoor, but it's not easy. And found the word. How is Cayman Arts Festival doing to these days? It's bleeding. It's bleeding, and I was told by other persons that they're outside of Cayman that hang on. You are not alone. Everybody is struggling at this moment. So it's nothing different. You just have to improvise. You just have to be more flexible. You just have to find ways of having events and continue tutoring those kids that we have in our program. And Naomi will come now to tell you how they practice. And I will tell you then how our instrumentalists are practicing too.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because I'm hoping that as we listen, and sometimes for me, the coping strategy is a little bit of lightheartedness, a jovial approach. But this is serious, because as you've alluded to, if we don't maintain those relations, we don't congregate physically.
Exactly, yeah. And the students would really miss out from doing it, I feel. So obviously when COVID came back, we had to rethink, because singing itself is actually quite a risky activity. And a lot of places have actually stopped people from singing at all. So we were desperate to be able to sing and to bring those young people together, having built such huge numbers and such positivity. And we'd had a few rehearsals and everybody was so excited. And obviously the last time I saw you, we'd had to postpone our concert.
Yeah.
So we had a rethink, and we thought about what would work for us. And we really knew that wearing masks was still the best thing to do, because obviously it protects everybody. And I'm standing at the front of them, so obviously I've got all of them singing at me. So we just felt that was safest. But also we wanted to continue rehearsing outside. So we've been very, very lucky, I have to say, that the Westin have accommodated us in an outside space since November. So we go to the Westin and we go to one of their outside spaces, and we're rehearsing there twice a week at the moment. And it works really well. It's a covered space. It's outside, so there's, the air is circulating. It's by the sea. It's wonderful. So that's worked really well for us in the short term. It's not a long-term solution, and we know that, but for the current situation, it suits us. So the students come from 3:30 and we stay usually till about 6:10. So we nearly do 3 hours of rehearsals twice a week with the students. And I would say that we have about 50% of the students who are on our roster currently attending, which is really fantastic. To have anybody coming together to sing is great. So those relationships are still being built. There's one of our young girls who goes to a school and she's having a tough time at school. She's struggling, and her relationships with those people at school are not always positive. And she's been coming to Cayman Youth Choir since the beginning of this year. And, she's delighted to be making friends with people who are like-minded to her. That everybody's there to make music and to make friendship, and there's no other agenda. Everybody's there as a family. Everybody's there as a community to support each other. It doesn't matter what school you come from.
Yeah, it's a shared objective, huh?
Exactly. Everybody's come together to sing. And one of the greatest things I think that we've been able to build with Cayman Youth Choir is it's really inclusive. We have students who are homeschooled. We have students who maybe have learning difficulties. We've had students in the past who have hearing difficulties or issues with their sight. We have students who are not always finding life easy, but they come to us and they have a way of letting off steam, a way of feeling like they're part of something. And our concert, Harmonise the World, really emphasises that more than anything. This idea that we are coming together as a community, as an island, to celebrate despite our challenges, I think is really important. And obviously bridging those gaps between people who are from different backgrounds, who look different, who are from different countries, who are different ages. We've got 4 to 20. That's a huge age range, but they will sing together. And that's fantastic. So it's such a gift. And I always say to Maris, I'm so incredibly lucky to be working with these young people, and to be part of a program which seems to be going from strength to strength, and people are really on board and supporting us. So please come to our concert.
Maris, I mean, it is, despite the challenges, it's that love, that commitment, that devotion, that dedication, and the dogged determination to see these children develop. We see it in their discipline and attendance, but we also see it in them, being...
I mean, look at their commitment to go We usually have the practice here in town, in Georgetown, to travel, to go at 3-4 o'clock when is that traffic, to go to Westin and to stay there to do the rehearsal. The parents are coming, or it's something. I mean, they really like. I was told that these days the children, if a child doesn't like something, you can push it as much as you want. You will not have the success.
Right.
And she was talking about 4 choirs. It's Cayman Youth Choir, but she divided it based by ages and give them names for each group that is part of the Cayman Youth Choir. She will come with that one. I always forget because it's something with tiddly.
Yeah, so it's the ages 4 through 6 are the Tiddlywinks, and they do action songs. So we learn songs by doing actions to them, and they're really on their feet and having fun, and it's all learning the skills of watching and listening to each other, but really it's about just enjoying what they're doing. Then our Tiddly Pops are ages 7 through 10, and they're starting to sing in harmony, so starting to take it a bit more seriously, learning the skills that they need to go into the senior choir, which is ages 11 through to 20, where they sing in 3-part harmony. And then our ensemble, which is the ones that I've invited, the ones who are just a little bit more confident, and we want to give them slightly more challenging pieces to sing, and they're actually from 12 through to 20. So yeah, we have four different groups now who sing.
Students that perform in the choir, sang in the choir, now they come as a tutors.
Yeah.
So this is, we have this one in other programs too. When they reach a certain age, I like to say we throw them to the sharks. We put them back in the program to teach, because they know what we do. They know the program. So we send them to those 4, 5, 6 years old kids to start working with them.
Let each one teach one, right? And when you think about it, you're developing that mentorship. You're developing a sense of responsibility, but belonging, unity.
Exactly. That's I think for a lot of people that Cayman Youth Choir, because it's called Cayman Youth Choir, they think that the choirs always have to sound excellent. Yes, that's wonderful. But our real focus is on people coming together to sing and to make friends. And yes, excellent sounding choirs is wonderful, but we're never going to exclude anyone. We don't want people to be cut out of our choir. We want people to come and sing. We have no audition. There's no fee to join, and anybody can join. So, of course, some of the students maybe don't have such a good voice, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they've come along, they're taking part in something, and they're part of our family. So, yes, our end products do usually sound really good because we're really lucky, but that's not the most important thing. The thing is the idea of family, inclusivity, coming together and celebrating music, and that's so important. It's a kind of a different entity in that way. We're not looking at making, working on all of the technical aspects until the students are bored. We want the students to come and sing and have joy and fun in what they're doing and celebrate. And that's really important. So we kind of try to balance
join
it.
the choir? Can he join?
He wants to come. He's like that. Yes.
No, he's on.
It's the balance is difficult though, because you want to work on the technical things, of course. But I think you have to say to yourself, these young people have given their time.
Right.
Their parents have come. They want to enjoy what they're doing. And for that 30 minutes or 1 hour that they have with you, they want to come away going, that was great. I had a great time. And that's so important.
And as I listen, sorry.
The event that we talk now is part of the Cayman Arts Festival 2022. It will be on Sunday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Kimpton on the beach deck, where it was Sticky Beach in the past. We were able to do it there outside. The festival this year, one of the main words, it's actually outdoor. Everything it's outdoors. So we'll tell more, I think, after commercials. I take your job.
No. You're welcome to have it, man. Susan was talking. That's why you brought him in early. Did she pay you?
Not yet.
Not yet? Make sure you get paid. All right. With that, take us to the commercial break. So, we go to the commercial, come back. Take us in.
Absolutely. We'll take a break with the commercials, and after that we'll come back and continue with the Cayman Arts Festival events.
On Talk Today.
On Talk Today.
Subway makes it easy for you to stay on top of your health and wellness goals with our Fresh Fit menu options. Choose from 5 Fresh Fit Subway sandwiches with only 450 calories or less per 6-inch sub. Turkey breast, veggie, oven roasted chicken, Black Forest ham, sweet onion chicken teriyaki, or make your 6-inch Fresh Fit sub into a salad or wrap prepared with fresh vegetables. For a full menu and nutritional information, visit subway.ky. Subway, eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
COVID-19 vaccination boosters are available to anyone 18 years and older who received their second dose at least 3 months ago. A booster increases your protection against the effects of COVID-19 and helps to reduce transmission to others. Help keep yourself, loved ones, and our community protected. Get boosted. Visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks very, very much for joining us. And thanks too to our teachers, our volunteers, and all those who draw alongside, love, and nurture our students. Together with Marias, and as you were saying before, Miss Naomi, you came in, sort of choir director extraordinaire. I think is how he described you. That time that we spend with our children, the family that we're sort of building, extends greatly. And before we take the caller, I think shall we take the call first quickly?
Yeah,
let's go to the phones. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Afternoon, my friend. How are you today?
Okay. Good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon.
I was just calling to find out if you all had any plans on, like, say, having concerts in every district on the island. Like, say, starting from East End and coming to West Bay. And if you do have the concerts, having them probably on the football field so that you're able to have more people. And also, you may want to charge like maybe $7 for an adult and $4 for children.
I think this is for me. At this moment, we would love to have a event on the football field where we can bring there thousands of people. But the requirements are up to 250, and we need to stick with these regulations. We will love in the future to do that. Indeed, Naomi can tell me more if there are students from that part of the island. If not, we don't mind. She knows this, what I'm saying now. I would love to build 100 choirs, if possible, just to accommodate all these kids. I know in the West Bay area, I have in mind there are a few schools there very close to one to another that can build another choir. Can be primary school ones, because usually the Cayman Youth Choir is based at John Gray, because that's the location where we're practicing, and we are building now with the new location. We bought some choir raisers and so on. We try to work on that. So all these districts, they're supposed to be somehow like reservoirs for John Gray and Clifton Hunter. We are opening. Somebody hear me now from Clifton Hunter. I love to have a choir there too. I love to have another person dedicated like Naomi to have a competition with choirs.
So we could certainly explore doing concerts over in the Eastern districts. I mean, I understand that's something that would be really good to do. Definitely,
we can try that. I mean, this event we can travel a bit with the same event, and we just build up. Indeed, the listener is right. That part is not well covered because everybody's here all the time. So he's right on this.
But it's something you could definitely explore.
Yes, it's something that to explore.
And we'd like to explore as well, as you said. Definitely we feel that area is one that we could do more for. And we wish we had a bottomless pit of energy that we could give to everybody, but we do the best we can at the moment. And I think certainly it's something that in the future we could explore.
Also with the ticket price, just to... when it's festival, we have some costs that we need to cover. We still try to keep the price of the tickets as low as possible. Usually we have kids for free.
Yeah.
And we will continue doing that. We've been these days, it's NCFA in place at the new location at John Gray Auditorium. And I was counting how many people I can put here, and I was taking notes yesterday. And you're involved with the students. That's why I didn't tell you. But I was thinking to tell you, if we have 400 people there inside, when the time will allow us, we can go, I don't know, $5 per ticket in that moment. Because for us, it's when we will do our own events outside of the festival that will not involve that much expenses. In that moment, the past, it's a witness that we didn't charge that much on tickets, and also the past shows that we also didn't increase the tickets, even if the life here start becoming a bit more.
It's really difficult. I think people don't realise how. I had no idea, I guess, how expensive it is to put on events here, and being part of a music program, it's vitally important that you show people what you can do and celebrate the music in a performance. But to find venues is really difficult, particularly now with the restrictions we have. But also the cost of putting on concerts is huge. And we've been so lucky with this concert to have some people on board who've sponsored us. Wheaton Precious Metals have given us enough money to kind of pay for a huge aspect of the concert, which is fantastic, and a few other local companies have been on board as well. And without that help, it would be really challenging to do. We're so lucky to have that help.
We do have a caller join us.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And let's go to the phones as we talk about the Cayman Art Festival. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I would be interested in hearing a little bit about the range of music that the choir, may be practicing or is endeavoring to cover, and are they going to be covering any of the indigenous Caymanian music?
That's something that we're looking into right now. That's something I would love to do. And I obviously really value the Caymanian culture and the songs from Cayman. Obviously, we do them at school and we cover them a lot. But in the choir, obviously, at the moment, I will be honest with you, sir, that we don't do as much as we could. And I feel that that's certainly an area that we should develop as the Cayman Youth Choir. We do songs from the Caribbean, but we don't do songs that are specifically Caymanian. So certainly, sir, I feel that's an area that could be really explored and one that I would really feel would be valuable to the choir. We do try to do a wide range of music. Obviously, being an inclusive choir, we have children from all over the world and from all different backgrounds. So we try to make the repertoire as exciting for them as we can, but also exciting for the audience as well, because obviously we're, I suppose, selling a product a little bit and trying to get the audience involved and buying into what we're doing so that they will enjoy themselves. And I do certainly think that some Caymanian songs and Jamaican folk songs would be a really valuable part of that repertoire, and it's certainly something that I will be exploring in the near future with them.
Well, there's a lot of Caymanian indigenous music.
There is indeed, sir. Yes, I know.
That would fit in, or that can be fit
exactly
into a choir type arrangement.
Exactly. Yes, I know. So there's some wonderful songs.
Little Green Cottage by the Sea is one that I can think of, and there are many more. Also, are you in the repertoire that you may be planning on covering, or that you are covering? Are there any Hank music in there?
Any what music, sir? Sorry.
Hank.
I'm sorry. I don't think I know what that is, sir. Could you explain? I'd love to know more.
Okay. Well, when you say Hank music, that means Hank Williams, and
Oh.
Hank Williams, you know.
I don't do any Hank Williams, I'm sorry, sir, but we do a whole range of music, all the way from classical, all the way through to choral repertoire, to kind of music from the 1930s, 1940s, all the way through to present day. So we do a huge range of music. They do songs from present day all the way through back to jazz and blues. And then obviously we do some Caribbean songs. In this concert we're doing Turn the World Around, but we're also doing We Are the World. The senior choir are doing For the Beauty of the Earth, which is a beautiful hymn chorale song. They're also doing It's a Small World. They're doing Joy to the World. So there's some sacred works in there, some pop songs, some older songs, and hopefully something that everybody will enjoy. But yes, I do agree with you 100% that valuing the indigenous songs of Cayman is extremely important, and an area I will certainly be exploring.
Okay, what is the cost of the tickets for this?
The concert. Thank you very much for asking. The concert is $15 for adults, and it is $5 for children over the age of 5. And you can purchase tickets either by contacting me or Mr. Marius. My contact number is 922-2079, or you can contact us by email on caymanyouthchoir@gmail.com. Alternatively, there are tickets available on Eventbrite as well, which are online tickets, and they're US dollar prices. So it may look a little bit more, but obviously that's because they are in US dollars. And we'd love to see you there, sir, and perhaps you could come to talk to me a little bit more about your music interests.
Well, how about what kind of musical accompaniment will there be?
Oh, we always have a piano accompanying us, sir. So we never use backing tracks. We always have a live piano accompanying us.
A live piano?
Yes, we do, sir.
And well, you know, there's a lot of beautiful guitars here.
There are some beautiful guitarists, sir.
That I'm sure would add some.
I'm sure they
dynamic,
could.
Some dimension to the choir's performance.
That would be perfect, sir. I would love the opportunity to talk to you about that further on Sunday if you're there. That would be fantastic.
When is the concert on Sunday?
It's at 4 p.m. on Sunday at the Kimpton, and we chose that venue because it's outside. So obviously it's a little bit safer at the moment due to the restrictions. It means we're able to have a slightly larger audience, so more people can celebrate with us. But it also means that it's an area that everybody knows as well. So yes, it's at the Kimpton. It's in the beach deck, which used to be Tiki Beach. So it's an outside venue, and the concert starts at 4, and it will last for around 1 hour, and we are singing 16 songs in total. And you will be seeing students from the age of 4 all the way through to 20 years old.
Well, sounds like a great work.
Thank you very much, sir. We'd love to see you there.
Get some Dee Dee music in there.
Definitely, sir. And if you come to see me, I'm Miss Naomi. If you come to see me on Sunday, then we can talk more about your fantastic ideas.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks very much, man. And I recognize the time, but as you were just about to share.
Yes, I wanted to say that in this meeting, we just got a few new ideas and a few new directions. One of the direction is Eastern District.
Yes,
literally
adding more songs in the repertoire, particularly from the local area. And third, maybe a guitar or a few other instruments in the future. But these are, I'm just mentioning them. I usually don't interfere when it's an artist involved. My part, it's different, but I keep them in mind, and I remind her from time to time. Do you think that we can add these type of things?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to continuing, and as we strive to celebrate, maybe we'll promote and show a great deference to what is a strong tradition of music.
Exactly.
Marius? This is just the first event, that it's on Sunday. Next week we have another event. This is something new. It's a newly formed string quartet. We call it K-Forte, with 4 music teachers that they come together. They focus on Baroque music, Handel, Albinoni, Corelli, Pachelbel. I think there are a few others, but I forgot them. The event is at the National Gallery outside in the gardens. Thursday, it's February 24th, 7 p.m. after all the mosquitoes are gone. And it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes event. And we hope to see you there too.
All right. Well, thanks very much. And we'll have continued discussions.
Thank you.
May the students continue not only to excel, but to feel that warmth of love and family. Marius, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Always one. All right, going to pause and take a break. And when we come back, well, guess what? You want to know? Well, you have to join us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Passport and Corporate Services Office launches new methods for collecting Cayman British Overseas Territories citizen passports. In partnership with the Cayman Islands Postal Services, under the new system, once a passport is ready for collection, CIPS will contact the applicant or their representative and offer the choice for the BOTC passport to be collected from any post office on Grand Cayman. Alternatively, for a nominal fee, the passport can be delivered to the recipient's home or work address. In international news, police in the Honduran capital, Tegucigalpa, have surrounded the house of ex-President Juan Orlando Hernandez. The officers were deployed hours after the U.S. requested his extradition on drug charges, which he denies. He is accused of having been involved in a drug trafficking ring, which included his younger brother, Tony Hernandez, who last year was sentenced in the U.S. to life in prison. Mr. Hernandez governed Honduras from 2014 to January this year. Russia says it is pulling back some of its troops from near Ukraine after a buildup raised fears of an invasion. The defense ministry said that the large-scale drills continued, but that some units were returning to their bases. There has been no independent confirmation of the withdrawal, and international powers have reacted cautiously to the announcement. More than 100,000 Russian troops have massed at Ukraine's border. Russia has always denied it is planning an attack. This year's Oscars will be hosted by U.S. comic actresses Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes, the Academy announced on Tuesday. The trio of film star funny women will MC the 94th Academy Awards at Hollywood's Dolby Theatre on March 27th. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Captain Charles Gerald Kirkconnell, 1891 to 1961. Charles Gerald Kirkconnell was born and raised on Cayman Brac. He was married to Olivine Elizabeth Eden of Grand Cayman, and the couple had 3 children. Captain Charlie was one of the founding brothers of the shipping and merchandising firm of R.B. Kirkconnell and Brothers Limited. Many Caymanian seamen were trained on Kirk vessels and later worked for national bulk carriers. Captain Charlie was also a shipbuilder who built the largest ship ever to be built in the Cayman Islands, the M.V. Kirksons. He and the late Bertie Foster were instrumental in helping to build the airport on Cayman Brac, which they both helped to finance. The clearing of the airstrip was done entirely by hand. Captain Charlie financed most of the houses that were built by seamen employed by NBC, as there was no bank on the Brac. He served as a vestryman for the Sister Islands in the Assembly of Justices and Vestry. Captain Charles Gerald Kirkconnell.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Wave your country flag, sport your favorite jersey, show off that national costume, or channel your inner majesty with a salute to the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. It's Dress for Culture Day with a Majesty theme, Friday, March 11th. Brought to you by the Cultural Foundation as part of K-Fest 2022. Celebrate Cayman's cultural melting pot with a Dress Down fundraiser, open to schools, businesses, and individuals for donations of just $5 for adults, $3 for students. Visit artscayman.org for more information.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciated the opportunity just then to speak about the Cayman Arts Festival. Marius in particular, as executive director, I think there would be without question, a consent amongst, or a consensus, I should say, amongst his team that he does a fantastic job in helping to put things together. But I think, as he has said, publicly, Miss Naomi and Miss Fran and all the other music educators, people like Glenn and the like, have always been, no pun intended, instrumental in ensuring that the students get absolute, love and attention, and they're nurtured. But I think Marius quickly alluded to the fact that the parents who collect their children and take them, stay with them, support them, have to be commended. We've told, and studies apparently have, been quite instructive in that respect, that the parents who are actively, constructively, positively, lovingly nurturing their children, as they're involved in the lives of their children, those children do a lot better. And I think we need to ensure that we do that as parents and as a wider community, not to speak to things that become cliches. We don't just say, it takes a village, but we're not accounted for. We say we should be involved, but then we get a malign label and accused of, what is that term that I've heard that should offend almost also, being a helicopter parent. We can't be, fooled into believing that children will raise themselves. They need positive, nurturing adults who lead by example, who mean what they say and say what they mean, and who show through their own perseverance, a sense of discipline and commitment and dedication to achieving their own goals, whether it's in exercise, whether it's in continuous studies. Now, it's easier said than done, because many of us would say, we should exercise, and we know, but we don't make time. We find all sorts of things to distract us. It's like the parent who, let's say, for example, smokes and doesn't want the child to smoke. Well, you can say don't smoke while the cigarette is in the hands or between the lips. Or you can say, listen, struggling, trying to quit. This is why you shouldn't, because of the health reasons and the like. And demonstrate that even as the parent, as the adult, there are things that you find challenging. There are things you wish you hadn't done. But you cannot ring the bell, you cannot know, and you can't rewind time, no matter how hard we try and wish we could. And with that in mind, where are we in this whole scheme of things and working? But our guests are always very helpful. But our callers are always, very informative. And to the gentleman, perhaps whom his voice was easily recognizable, shared. What about the Caymanian music? As Miss Naomi shared, isn't it unfortunate that even in the schools we're instructed in all sorts of things and folk songs, but little regard or time or effort are available in terms of resources for the Caymanian music? Is that an indictment on us? Is that something that needs to be front and center? How can we truly talk about nation building if there is no shared, value, no respect for what is this country? Provides a bread and butter, a safety net, but also a place of rest, and also a great place of success. So what is on your mind? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. There are two things that I would like to ask of our listeners. It is open line, and given, I guess, what is happening in the media in particular, two things that I wanted to share as a result of a number of our listeners weighing in, sometimes collectively and sometimes independently, but also through an extended invitation to participate in a series of lecture discussions. Some, universities in the US, one in Canada, and a couple throughout Europe. Some in a language that is in English, so I had to rely on the translation. I have no doubt that, what is translated is accurate. What was unfortunate is that if it's not in your native tongue and you only hear one or two words that you recognize, you take in the rest of the context. I say that to share that in one of the presentations, the translation is there for, many languages. And as the professor, she gave her presentation, the word that seemed to, be understood by those of us who know a little bit of that particular language, her actions and then the way it was translated didn't quite give it the same, level of oomph, as they would say. I shared to share that sometimes, it's what you say and it's how you say it. So that body language conveys a lot. But the series of lectures, series recently, one, this whole issue with what's happening in Eastern Europe. Some of you are, just out of interest as sort of students of history. Some out of sort of being acutely curious would be the best way of the geopolitical happenings. Would share that the first sort of movement to the Crimea some time back wasn't necessarily an invasion as the Western media would have it sort of portrayed, but the Soviets had a military presence there on the Black Sea, got their submarine base. They heavily sort of accounted for, so they just took what they thought was always theirs, and there are many who would say, well, that's gone and that's it, it's not coming back. What happens relative to Ukraine now? Well, I'll share with you what the later professor was relaying. She said that too often, we don't realize that just like we talk about bullying, that now has become this thing that just talked about, nobody really understands it. It exists in many forms, in our workplaces, in our homes, amongst, our students, but in every event, but even in politics. And is it better to spend more of a country's resources or to have more international cooperation relative to education, agriculture? Or is it better to have, military alliances and strategic partnerships? And she said if we could find places where that is an avenue where you can see as a bastion of democracy or a bastion of international civility and cooperation, would that not be a better country than one that is feared because it might politically and economically and from its military perspective, is so heavy that it could cause people to be more fearful. Not because they're respected for what they do, but they're respected for what they could do. Now, with that in mind, she shared, should Ukraine be a space that is, this independent nation, a space of neutrality where, whether it's the Russians or the other European nations, see it as being very, very important, from the agricultural resources, from the natural resources that it has, that allows, from the natural gas to all the other things that the world seems to crave, as opposed to this place where you fight for it and it's either decimated and there's no value to anyone, or it's captured and subjugated to another's will, as opposed to respecting the people that are there. Live and let live. Now, following that presentation, there are some who thought, well, that's a bit naive. What is your thought? Do we make war or friends? Do we exercise our political and economic power, or do we find a way to lead by example and build stronger, lasting ties that brings people together? Now, you might share, well, here we are in Cayman. What does that have to do with us? Well, you'd be surprised. Maybe there are people who live and work here who are close friends, or who, families are there. You say, well, not really. But think about it. If the world is in turmoil, would that not affect us? Not just because we are people and they're people, but what about our travel? What about the potential of some other negative consequence? What is it that it said? Make love, not war. Well, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Now, the other point, and I'll leave it at that unless you wish to engage, is that in this sort of series of presentations, what was evident is that, until something materially and directly affect us, we really don't care. If it's happening in a street next door, or if it's happening in the country next door, or if it's happening, in the continent next door. If it doesn't affect us directly, we really don't care. That may just be how it should be. Some of us worry about too much, and some of us don't worry enough. But as we look at what's is unfolding, what could be the consequence for us and for the next generation? The other thing had to do with the idea of policing and the justice system and the like. And I'm hoping at some point, although these are individuals who probably are not as entrenched in the Cayman community as they once were, maybe if their travel allows them, they can either join us in the studio, or they would be amenable to doing it remotely. But they were sharing, there was not that long ago when in the media, not just out of the US but across the globe, people were concerned about the funds expended on police and the growing disrespect in our communities. Some, I would say, the use and abuse of power on all sides, from the citizens and their demonstrations to some of those behind the scenes sort of pulling the strings. Put it in the context of what I gather from what some of you have shared. If you look at Canada, some would say a peace-loving, fairly neutral place. Some would probably share it was once, and probably still is to some extent, a puppet of the UK or the US. But nonetheless, a beautiful place with beautiful people. Is Premier now declaring a state of emergency. Well, what does that mean? How does that affect the lives of the people, even if it's sort of only initially, limited to that area that's being affected? But the precedent is set, according to media accounts. This piece of legislation that the cabinet has used is the first time that it's going to be used, replacing the sort of what was the equivalent of the War Powers Act. I can share that a few of you have asked, well, should such a thing even exist in the executive? Should an elected politician, no matter the title, and the cabinet be able to usurp such powers of the states, the local police, the provinces and the like? Should that be something that, if it's even considered, whether the timeline shouldn't be 7 days, as I understand it is in the Canadian instance. It should be 7 hours. Now, others have different views. The interesting comment from some is that the willingness with which so many people have been willing to capitulate or to even stop and even think of the consequence. As one gentleman shared, he said, there was a time not long ago when any act by a government, especially in a democracy, would have been quickly, questioned not just by the media, but by the opposition politicians, by the wider community. Whereas now, he says, it's as if, democracies are acting more like the communist regimes that he was acquainted with way back when, that were seen as the pariahs, that were seen as these things that needed to be toppled because they were there to, take away freedoms and destroy lives. And yet, perhaps now, the freedoms in the democracies of the Western world are probably, less and less each day, and looking more like these communist regimes that were once, labeled as these horrible things. Well, if you're interested in world politics, if you look at history and what has happened, if you have, like I have recently, the wonderful company of, the older men and the wiser heads who can share some of these things with you, maybe you'll come away with more than a textbook experience. They might be able to share with you some of the things that they've seen firsthand. Perhaps they may have witnessed, through the accounts of others and can relate to you. And this is the beautiful thing that is this country. We live, if you go back to Marius's comments earlier, his counterparts and the rest of the world shared, they were so envious that here in Cayman we could at that time have concerts and people get together, and they couldn't. Well, similarly now, someone has a cold, you got to be mindful you can't take a little bowl of fish tea to them. Not saying that we shouldn't be safe and sensible. We're just asking, are we relegating any sense and sensitivity and good sense that we should have? Hey, good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green.
And to you, sir.
A little bit of your show here. It's just as you're talking about Ukraine thing, it's important, that
yes, sir.
Many young people, it's a sad fact that they're not taught anything anymore in schools. I was speaking to some Americans recently on the same thing you're saying, but they're beginning to put it back in the schools. They're about the Second World War because it reshaped the whole world forever. What? Second most important thing, next, of course, the birth of our Lord and Savior and His life and His death, resurrection. That's first and foremost. But it changed the whole world forever, and it was because of the United States being involved. Remember, the United States was neutral up until early 1942, late 41. They were supplying the British government, the British and the French and so forth, and Russia, whatever resistance was there, but massive support to the Russians and to Great Britain. Great Britain is the only country that has repaid the U.S. their war debts and so forth. The rest didn't, couldn't, or won't, including Russia. They owe America hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions. The Ukraine thing that's happening now, that incident there, it's very reminiscent of the start of the Second World War. But I don't mean to frighten people, but the power show, and then everyone in the continental Europe and Great Britain and the United States quite concerned about it because the U.S. doesn't want to have to go in again and save the world, more or less. Let's be factual. But the point is, the negotiations that were made by Mr. Chamberlain when he went up in 1930 just didn't work out in 1940 with Adolf Hitler. Of course, it's a different situation now, and with Russia there, I remember with Mr. Nixon became president, he started the befriending the Russians and the Chinese, but he was able, that brilliant man, to keep them at each other's a distance, but still sort of friendly as communists. Well, friendliness can come from communism. It remains to be seen, because people run away from communist countries to democratic countries. We haven't seen it the opposite way. They were. It's very reminiscent of that. Of course, the British Prime Minister now is a different person from Mr. Chamberlain, Mr. Johnson, and then there is the U.S. President now. I don't know what he will eventually do with this.
Maybe she'll take over.
But the whole thing is that the Russians have now befriended the Chinese in a way that has made them the two giants there as friends, so to speak, for now, and agreeing with each other that Ukraine should be belong to the Russians, and as the Chinese want the support for, of course, for Taiwan. It is a dangerous situation. The U.S. doesn't need anything from the Ukraine. They can exist on their own. You know that. The U.S. has natural gas. They're shipping it all over the world. They have oil. They have everything they need.
Right. But as I listen to you, though, I mean, is this part of the challenge? And thank you so much for calling. As I was thinking about historians and people who, have a keen interest in global affairs, you were on my mind. So
have to be concerned. We have to be concerned, because we have always been very close to the United States in every way. We know that. Our greatest financial support, of course, we know comes from there, and so forth. But we have always been, and so England and the United States have a bond that is everlasting between them. It was Mr. Churchill and Mr. Roosevelt who created that. The Atlantic Charter, signed in May of 1941. That document of major importance. So those things we learned about in school.
Right.
In school nowadays, I don't know.
No. Can I, if it's okay with you, can I ask you? And I genuinely respect and always appreciate. Right, your perspective. We have this situation. Maybe we only seen it through one particular media outlet. Who knows what we're watching these days? Whether we can trust it, whether we are discerning enough. But what do you think is going to happen? How do you see this playing out? Russia is, according to the media accounts, look like it's positioning its assets nearby. We got a U.S. president. Not quite sure he can walk upstairs properly, but what do you see happening?
No, I'm no expert on these things. I just think you've got to understand what you hear in the news and see. It wouldn't be wise for the United States to reveal everything and neither Great Britain. You got to remember, Great Britain was the third country in the world to have nuclear weapons. Yes, it was U.S., Russia, then, of course, England. And they have their plans, and they have to be very secretive, too. Many things, they just can't talk it. We know the television companies make barrels of money out of these, playing out these things, and playing out incidents that make headlines.
Right. So where do you see Germany?
And that's what people watch, and people are heavily influenced.
Okay.
Not realizing that these news, what do you call them again, the guys who present the news to you?
Propagandists?
No. You have a name for it.
Probably the same thing. Yeah.
They make many times the salary of the United States president.
Yeah.
The simplest one you see there that is doing the. So it's a big money thing. They'll focus on things they know that the people will watch and they'll carry it on and so forth.
But let me
We don't really know what's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
It's quite likely that Russia will not probably invade them. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to say this and I get lambasted for it. I think what they should do is call on Mr. Trump to deal with the Russians. Call on him.
Well, let me ask then, right?
A way of doing things with these
Right.
kind of things.
Well, recognizing that the guy in the White House now is no Ronald Reagan, what do you make of Germany? I mean, they could be very pivotal, could they not?
Yes, their decisions there because there's powerful interests there in Germany and they're a powerful country, they're a wealthy country, and they have a lot to lose and a lot at stake. So they will have to be big players in this whole thing. And the U.S. has a big involvement there with arms and troops and things that there's a symbiotic relationship there too, and with the British now, and long enemies, the same thing with Japan in the Far East, great allies. So,
but do you see this being resolved without any sort of military action?
You've got to remember one thing: you can't go and talk to these countries without military might in your own stable. You have to have those things. When, well, I don't know how many people knew, but when the great General Colin Powell went and negotiated with Mr. Reagan and Mr. Bush, first Mr. Bush was then his vice president, they did the negotiations, and a lot was left up to Colin Powell
exactly
at that time to decide which weapons they would not do away with and which. And when he said to the Russian chief of staff and everything, and they were talking, and Mr. Reagan, of course, is not expert in that, and George Bush looked at him and winked at Mr. Powell, General Powell, and Powell stepped in and said, no, we're not doing away with those. We're not. And he said, well, whatever the general says then, that so be it. Because he knew that they were not going to give up those weapons and let the Russians have anything. It was to their advantage. And George Bush realized, and he said afterwards in General Powell's biography, that he realized that they didn't have the money to continue with this. That's why they had to back down. And that was how that great moment of decision, which no one wants to talk about, none of the liberals, was made at that time. And that was it. Owing to General Powell's knowledge of what weapons to keep. And you have to have that might to go and negotiate with these people. You cannot go there and think that you're going to go with, this is some plants that we grow wheat, we grow this, we grow that. That's nice what you're saying, and that's great to focus on that, but that's not reality. My friend, it's not reality.
All right.
You got to deal with these people from a position of might and strength.
Yeah,
I don't care who wants to lambast what I'm saying and ridicule what I'm saying, but that's the way I see it. A lot of people see it that way also.
Yeah, well, certainly 19th century man. Thank you very much for that, sir. And always, this is what I would say, though, we have people in this country that if we would just listen, we can learn. We don't need to, as you said, agree. We just need to learn to listen. Let's pause and take a break and invite other callers to share when we return.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Cocoa Fest is back at Pedro St. James, Saturday, February 26, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Enjoy crafts, music, coconut-inspired food and treats, health and beauty products, and enjoy local cooks, craftsmen, artisans, and farmers through a shared love for the Cayman coconut. Entry is $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Children 5 and under are free. Cocoa Fest will be adhering to all government regulations to keep our visitors safe. So, go coconuts at Cocoa Fest, Saturday, February 26. Sponsored by Fidelity, Pepsi, Ministry of Culture and Heritage, High Impact Media, Cayman Spirits, and ATV Cayman.
The coconut nut is a giant. Coconut nut is a giant nut.
How can you take your business from good to great and thrive in the new normal? By finding the smartest, most powerful IT solutions to optimize your business operations. And now, Digicel Business Hub is making it simple for you. High-speed Wi-Fi, mobile and office phones, IT security, Microsoft Office with Teams, and much more. Everything your business needs to level up in the new normal. Get world-class IT for your business with Digicel Business Hub. Sign up today. Call us on 623-2499 or visit our website www.digicelbusiness.com for more information.
Hello, everyone. Honorable Sabrina Turner here, your elected representative for the Electoral District of Prospect and the Minister for Health and Wellness. I am inviting especially the people of Prospect to a community meeting Thursday, February 17th at 7 p.m. at the Spots Dock. COVID-19 protocols will be in place to ensure the safety of all attendees, and this meeting will also be broadcast live on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac. Vaccination and a booster drive will also be available from Public Health this coming Thursday, February 17th at 7 p.m. at the Spots Dock, and tune in to Radio Cayman from 7 p.m. for the live broadcast. Looking forward to engaging with you.
The National Roads Authority will be in attendance at the meeting of the Honorable Sabrina Turner to address constituents on issues and major projects in the Prospect community.
This Valentine's, save 25% on new Tempur-Pedic or Sealy mattress. Yes, 25% off plus free delivery on mattresses, adjustable bases, and foundations during Brand Source Home Gallery Valentine Tempur-Pedic and Sealy mattress sale on now. Select from firm, medium, soft, and pillow top in all sizes. Hurry! Sale ends Saturday, February 19th. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive. Call 949-5000 for details.
You can now book and pay online for your certified lateral flow test at www.hsa.ky/appointment. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Certified LFTs are $25 per test per person. HSA's testing center is located at 131 Center, McClendon Drive, behind Foster's Airport. Walk-ins for certified LFTs are also available. Need a PCR test for travel? These are now only $75. Visit hsa.ky/appointment for more information.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. It is open line as we go to the next caller. Welcome, good afternoon. Hey, what's happening, man? How are you?
Man's on the weather, man. Drop a temperature. Enjoying it.
Yeah, man.
Give me 4 minutes, right? Wrap it up. The previous caller, we're on track. Right? So then listen, who have believed in technology in the past or henceforth? Listen, who had believed in books, digital? Right? Like back in days, you go by the globe, atlas, and right now we go GPS, global position system. You see that? And in this time though, being second time though, right? Everybody looking straight, right? A prerequisite payment, right? Whatever execute right. You see that? Back in days, right? The Cold War, right? Between the White House and the Kremlin, Russia, right? I got my stuff again, White House, and the Kremlin. They were afraid of the mad revolution
Mutual assured destruction. Nuclear power all out. Total annihilation. Who attack, who defend, retaliate, tick attack, that's it. Utilize everything. So, the people talk about now negotiation and this and that. No. They don't come with that. Nobody want to pardon on here. You feel me? Some people will turn the radio off. That's a problem, right? You hear me speaking now? So then,
yeah, man.
The point make no difference. It's action, adverb action, right? In this era. You feel me? In the previous EU now, it was Germany, France, and the UK. Top four. I thought for almost the UK out of it now. They withdrawn. See? That's secured. People are not educated about that. You understand? So, in this time now, son, with this thing now, we're North Stream, in the Black Sea, in the gas line. It's all about reimbursing money making China, you know? And right now, people in UK, the whole inflation with this. You understand? They know. You feel me? So, even a war too, with our finance, it came on. About anger, just secret or the street less. You feel me? So, what happens then? In these times now, like the previous caller was talking about Donald Trump. Yeah, Dennis Rodman, Trump, and Kim Jong III resolved the differences. One letter. You recall that, right? Yeah, man. But starting before going down, like I said again, you can't be complacent in this times.
No. But I like what you shared because, not to sort of cut you, but the idea that we could probably use other emissaries. We don't need to just use political figures, right? You referenced the use of Rodman. I mean, there are probably other individuals, whether because of their celebrity status as, in the films or on the sports, we could use them to help to not just back channel, but to publicly, bring things to a space where we see a greater sense of collaboration and cooperation.
I'm bullshit up enough, right? You see, we finished about 2 years ago the proxy war, right?
Right.
Venezuela, right? In Russia and China, they're trying to back on them. You know about that, right? And the Russians still play what? North of us now. North of us, Cuba. Like, people forget their stories. Right? I would have one. I see submarine when I have one in Cuba. Yeah, but that number's chaotic. But in the past, listen to me. I never feel nothing. You know, Paul Salame or whatever, but I feel nothing. Nothing on 2 legs. You feel me? So, like I think everybody does.
Yeah, man.
So, people have the mutual assured destruction, total annihilation. You understand?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, right, they talk about mutual assured destruction, right? MAD. You have to question if that's not just what that kind of policy is.
The popular resort. People were worried about Trump. So he had access to nuclear. He keep the password. And you see Biden he flims. Yeah, really make it. And Kamala Harris on the corner. Right? More like that. Right? So I think these times, not panic about, but just do yourself.
Yeah, man.
Right? Put the guards down. Start, man. Cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And as the caller was sharing, I mean, how... well, let's just take this call and then we can talk later. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I'd like to weigh in on something that Mickey said there a while ago, Mr. Halston.
Yeah, yes, sir. Welcome.
He was talking about, I think he made reference to negotiation. And negotiation is not very successful if you're not negotiating from a platform of strength. And I'm not sure that the West in general is positioned in that platform, and not really realizing the culture of the Soviet war theory, war machine, war.
But the ethos as well.
War logic.
Yeah.
Lenin once said, war is a part of a whole, and that whole is politics. Okay? Another, and then this is all embedded in the Russian theory of war or their application. Another one of Lenin prognostications or theories was wars are inevitable so long as society is divided into classes, so long as the exploitation of man by man exists. Now, you go back, and a guy by the name of Arthur Koestler in 1978 said this: the most persistent sound which reverberates through man's history is the beating of war drums. China came into the mix there. Mo Zedong. Politics is war without bloodshed, while war is politics with bloodshed. And if you deduce all of that, I think, and mix it up, coagulate it, you'll find it probably boils down to the lack of respect and love. Internationally or universally. But I think until some of those aspects creeps into man's or embeds itself deeply in man's psyche, then, the drumbeat of war is always going to be reverberating through history.
Right.
And I don't think that Russia can be trusted.
Well, okay.
And I go back to 1958, at the height of the Cold War, when everybody was looking to get an advantage in nuclear power. The U.S. was ahead of Russia quite a bit, okay? And in the middle of a let's say a major discovery or major project of discovery of what nuclear energy can do, the U.S. was conducting, Russia offered to go into a nuclear moratorium. What happened? The U.S. pulled back all of its nuclear research, so forth and so on. Russia didn't. In 5 or 6, 7 years, Russia was up equal with the U.S. as far as strength, and but if you look, and this comes back to respect and trust and love. If you look at Putin's, I guess you could say, rationale logic, if the West has got missiles on the Ukraine, that, not to say that they do now, but all the NATO alliance and Ukraine joining NATO, this could very well be a scenario. Russia would have, or NATO would have, missiles on the Ukraine-Russian border.
Right.
Okay, and you go back. We're back, and history keeps repeating itself. We're back to the same
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Basic scenario that we were in 1961. You remember the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yes, sir.
What was that all about?
I mean,
because NATO had missiles on the Turkish-Russian border, pointing towards Russia. So Khrushchev said, "Well, let's put some down Cuba there and point it towards Washington." And what it came down to, I think NATO, the U.S. reduced. They may have withdrawn or may have moved all of their missiles that they had on the Turkish border. And, of course, there was a resolution to the missiles in Cuba. So,
But you're right. I mean, history keeps repeating itself. So you quote Lenin. We talk about the division. The question that we now have to ask ourselves, if we look at some of the pundits and the puppet masters, right, that control the politicians and the like, I joke and jest at times, but where is that level of courage? I mean, where are the men and women of yesteryear sort of being demonstrated in the ethos of the men and women of today, and
I think in this era, over the last, I guess it would be 20 years more or less. If you look back at what happened in Crimea, what was that? I think it was around 2014, somewhere in that area. What happened there? The West, because of political underbelly, soft underbelly, or whatever it was, they gave Russia. They made Putin walk right in and take Crimea. Yeah, so.
But did Putin do that, or was he not already there? I mean, did Russia not have their nuclear, the submarine base right there?
No, not before he took it over. That's why he wanted it. But there was a big, I think, a major population of Russians in Crimea. The same thing is in the Donbass, I think, which is in the eastern part or northeastern part of
No, but Russia had leased that property from Ukraine, where they had a presence there. I'm sure of that.
Well, I know they had a presence. They had their people. I think the Ukraine sector was major Russian, whatever you want to call it, immigrants or Russian oriented.
Right.
And that's why he thought that it should be Russian. And the same thing he's thinking about the Donbass region in Ukraine.
Right.
And they're fighting over there now. So
So let me ask. I mean, this is where I value you and Mr. Mickey and others, not just the sheer willingness to offer an opinion, but you have the wisdom of the ages to sort of give us a perspective. The Cuban Missile Crisis. I wonder how many of us not even are old enough, but even have been introduced to it through our studies. So let me ask, in saying that, then, with what is unfolding there, is this, as you shared, the division? We see the languages being spoken across the globe causing a division. We see within some countries, let's say Ukraine, for instance, just the ethnicities, and potential of what could be, internal struggle, right, as a civil war.
Well, okay. If you want,
oh my God!
I think you apply love and understanding to what you just said. That's the bottom line.
Right. I know it's Susan reminded me we got a break, but crying out loud, let's respectfully hold on for this commercial before we go on. You want to stay online, or are you okay now?
Hold on for a little bit.
Yeah. I apologize to you for that.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really?
Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating.
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments until February 17th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited, whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020. The Work Jobs Cayman payment portal has been upgraded. Now customers can upload the application when making an online payment. This new portal feature allows for easier submission of applications. Call 945-9672 or visit www.worc.ky for instructions on how to use the payment portal.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks very much too, as we just returned to the caller. Hey, thanks sir for hanging on and welcome back.
Yeah, and we, Winston Churchill, I believe, once said something to the effect that I feel very lonely without a war. Do you feel that too? And then you go to I believe it was George Patton, which and Putin is probably in this frame of mind also, who said, I love war and responsibility and excitement. Peace is going to be hell for me.
I guess is what.
So, it all comes back to it, that I think humanity's perspective, and it basically, I guess, has not changed over the last thousands of years.
But is that the challenge then, right? I mean, we heard, many a jest at Senator McCain. He didn't see a war, he wouldn't fight. Is it then that we are operating in a mindset with a set of sort of rules, as it were, that now need to be shifted? We're assigning labels to a lot of things, but we are thinking our approaches. And I'm not saying this if anybody think I'm a pacifist or this or that or the next thing, right? But are we too quick these days to pick up the gun as opposed to try diplomacy? I mean, look at the attempt at a regiment here, a military. Would not a corps of diplomats, be a better investment than in a gun-toting marksman trained to shoot first and maybe never ask questions?
Well, I guess from a perspective, yeah, that would seem more logical. But you go back to, and I don't know if I can remember this, if I can even, because it was quite long that MacArthur, who he was, but I think he once said something to the effect that the great question is, can war be outlawed from the world? If it can be, it would mark the greatest advance in humanity or civilization since the Sermon on the Mount. Okay?
Yeah.
But it would only create new moral and spiritual values.
Right.
It would produce an economic wave of prosperity that would, I think he said, that would raise the world standard beyond anything that was ever seen.
Right.
So, but still, if you go back and look at MacArthur's history, he wanted to, because in the Korean War he was the supreme commander over there. He wanted to go into Manchuria. He wanted to go right in and quiet the Chinese people down, the Chinese nation down at that time. Same as Churchill after World War II. He said, Russia is now at its weakest point. Let's move. And the British electorate kicked him out of office. And he said after that, that the British electorate have denied me the opportunity to shape what he thought would be a better world.
Is that one of the major challenges then, that we leave a lot to quote unquote politicians, right? Whether they're democratically elected, or whether they're like Trudeau, and who knows what that will be, or whether that is otherwise. Now, we do have the news break. I always love learning, and I don't want to impose or extend your time any further, but you're more than welcome to rejoin us if you wish.
I'll just leave you this.
Yeah.
Got to go to news.
Yes, sir.
When we first started, war is a part of a whole. That whole is politics.
Yeah. Sadly. All right. Talk to you again, sir.
Okay.
All right, blessings. Well, let's pick up that point when we come back, and of course we can talk about anything else if you so choose. Please stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is seeking the public's assistance in locating 54-year-old Alan Ronald McLean, who was last known to be living in the Georgetown area. Mr. McLean is wanted by police for drug-related offenses. It is believed that he might be armed, and police are advising the public that Mr. McLean should not be approached by members of the public, but instead they should call 911 immediately upon sighting him. In international news, Vladimir Putin has said that, of course, Russia does not want war in Europe, but that his security concerns must be addressed and taken seriously. The Russian president's comments came as the military said that some troops were withdrawing from the border near Ukraine, the first sign from Moscow of a possible de-escalation of tensions. However, Western leaders say there is no evidence of the withdrawal yet. Bionic eye tech aims to help people with some types of blindness to be able to see. A small flock of sheep spent 3 months last year with bionic artificial eyes surgically implanted behind their retinas. The bionic eye was said to have been well tolerated by the animals. As a result, an application has now been made to start testing in human patients. The Phoenix 99 is wirelessly linked to a small camera attached to a pair of glasses. It works by stimulating a user's retina. Prince Andrew has settled a civil sexual assault case brought against him in the U.S., court documents show. A woman had been suing the Duke of York, claiming he sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions when she was 17, allegations he has repeatedly denied. A letter filed to the U.S. District Court on Tuesday said they had reached an out-of-court settlement. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We got 26 minutes and 10 seconds left of today's show. Let's go straight to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, Mr. Sterling, all is well?
All is well, and I trust the same for you.
Okay, great. And the family doing great?
Very, very thankful, Thank God.
All right.
And yours and all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my family doing pretty good. All right. First, I must say, I've been having some issue with CBC, and yeah, with some motor vehicle importation that I got in from time to time. I have a trade and business license that import, motor vehicles. First, I must give a shout out to some senior CBC officer who had taken on the initiative to do the right thing and release my 2 Toyota trucks that was held maliciously, and I say maliciously held, by a custom officer in December last year. Let me just emphasize and tell you exactly what happened. I got these trucks in. They were, somewhat one order one of the trucks. Anyway, I got them in. My custom broker, they did all the necessary paperwork, and I was called to my broker to pay the duty. The duty was paid to the government, and when I went to pick up the trucks, I went the Friday, and they had some meeting saying that they had some party or something. So I said, well, I'll come back the Saturday morning. That was just before Christmas. I went to pick them up, step up to the gate where at the compound there was 3 gentlemen in there. One clearly have a CBC uniform on, So I says, good morning, gentlemen. It was about 10 o'clock, 10:30. And they all 3 says good morning. So I says, I'm here to pick up 2 Tacoma trucks that came in a week or so ago. The officer couched down, and I had 2 stacks of papers in my hand. He says, boss man, do you have titles for them vehicles? I mean, aggressively. So I says, excuse me? I mean, the United States government wouldn't have shipped out these vehicles without titles. Moreover, your department did the processing, and I paid the duty almost $12,000. And he was upset because I said so. He burst his door open and come up all in my face as if it's a Mike Tyson, promotional fight. And I says, brethren, listen, just get out of my face. Please get out of my face. It's Corona time, and I don't want to catch Corona. Just get out of my face. He says, I can hold on to those vehicles with the papers in my hand. You don't have the papers yet to see exactly what vehicles. So I says, listen, I'm a customer, and the way you talk to me, I don't appreciate that. So he went back in there and started to whisper among the other one of the gentlemen, and they go on the computer and then decided that they're gonna hold on to my vehicle, saying, we're gonna hold this vehicle, or these vehicles, because by this time they brought the vehicles out. Because one of the other gentlemen that was in there, the 3rd gentleman, he seems to be upset to what's going on, because he reached out to me and say, hand me the papers. Because the other 2 was, so he took the papers and go on the computer. Then about 10, 15 minutes after, they brought the trucks out for inspection, etc. By that time, they called me in to show me the trucks on a website, and says, okay, the truck get a bumper squeeze here, or some crap like that. But tell you what, we're going to hold on to these trucks, because we believe that the repair cost might be a little more, so we're going to hold on to them. I says, okay, you can hold them for 100 years, because that is malicious. Because to threaten me to hold on to my trucks without you even have the documents in hand,
so
that's crazy.
I can sense, you feel a sense of aggrieved. If, as alleged, are you now elevating it to the requisite authorities, whether it's the Information Commission, the Ombudsman? I mean, what happens now?
Yeah, well, I got my trucks, and the officer, a senior officer, because I've had issues in the past, months back, where my other vehicles was held up in customs for about 4 months. I have to get a lawyer. I have to pay lawyers thousands of dollars. And did they charge me for anything? Because I'm not doing anything wrong. I am not doing anything wrong.
So
is it a crime to negotiate and get good prices?
All right.
I have a friend that has a trade and business license. One sec, Sterling. He brought some vehicles in, and you know what they did to him? They hauled him in the office and demanded his cell phone. He had to turn his cell phone over to them for them to go through the cell phone and see the communication between him and his Japanese suppliers. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know if it's legal. I'm not a lawyer.
No, but this is
this kind of acts is crazy, man.
I'm sorry to inject. This is why I'm asking. Whenever there is, and hopefully it will be the same in the private sector, but whenever there is an allegation like this, is there a requisite authority that could ensure that practices like this aren't just arbitrary or, as you allege, malicious, right? Now, we know that we can do so when the public feels aggrieved against a public officer. We don't seem to have the same level of recourse in the private sector. And that's why I was respectful asking, is this something that could be tested to ensure that, it isn't just a misunderstanding, miscommunication, a sort of misapplication of what they think is a policy?
Yeah, well, I guess maybe some of the officers they don't understand the public service management law,
right?
Because these laws should go through these laws monthly and quarterly and yearly so that they understand these practices.
But you remember, right, playing football as an analogy, sometimes this was back in the day when the referee was a referee and the other two were called linesmen. And sometimes on the field you would see things that transpired off the field being brought into the game by the player and by the officials, right? So sometimes, maybe that's what's coming into play, you think?
Yeah, but here it is. I understand what you're saying, but here it is.
Mm-hmm.
After Ivan, the same officer who was a policeman, I had a business on Walker's Road.
Mm-hmm.
And I was coming down South Church Street, where just as you pass Atlantis, I think there was a stoplight between KFC right at that intersection there.
Mm-hmm.
And he always almost pushes his head in my Honda Prelude and said, "Boss, man, get off your phone." And it's like lightning strike twice the same time. The next day, I was coming down and I was on the phone again with my suppliers in Miami. And the officer, "Boss, man, you're on the phone again?"
Mm-hmm.
And when the evening, in the night, when I leave my business place, a ticket was under my wiper, and it read, "Failure to comply with the directive of an officer while in uniform." And I go to court. I had to contest it because there was no law then that says you cannot drive and talk on your cell phone. This officer was taking that much. It was in discussion, but it wasn't implemented. And when I went to court, the judge lady, when I told them what happened, I plead guilty, and I told her what happened. And she said to one of the, I don't know what his cyclists, to go and get the ticket from me. And he came down and get the ticket and presented it to the judge. And the judge simply said, this my court is not a Mickey Mouse court. She don't want to hear these kind of stupidness in her court again, because that's a waste of her time. And she says, "Young man, you're free to go," because that is foolishness. You can't do that. And the officer, I remind him that, listen, you're carrying these kind of things from way back. From I was living at Wahoo Close, and you used to frequent down there, and several people who used to visit me Wahoo Close. The road is tight, and the people used to complain. But I still wasn't doing anything wrong. So you want to make sure that he send a message to me by giving me a ticket, to talk on my cell phone. And there was no law that says you can't drive on your, you don't do things to people. That's crazy. And you bring that back into customs now to use that thing against me, to hold on to my vehicle, stress me out so much that I have to go down to Beach at 3 o'clock in the night before day every morning. My wife, every 5 minutes, she called the way I was stressed out. I mean, this is ridiculous. You understand? I don't want to bring my vehicles in and have these kind of people with these kind of mentality. They can throw all kind of things in your gasoline tank or plant something in your vehicle while it's on their compound. I don't like this. This is crazy. You understand? I'm a law-abiding citizen. My sisters brought me here. They were teachers here, and they teach here until they go in retirement, and they help this island tremendously. And they're still doing that, although they're offshore. They're still helping kids because they believe in education. And when all of this thing was happening, I reached out to my political representative in Bodentown, and it's just some stupid stories. It's just ridiculous. Mountain of stress. I have to take a vacation. My family called me up and said, "Listen, come home and just relax and stay a couple of weeks and see if you can maintain your sanity." Because they held a couple of vehicles for me, and I have to get lawyers, thousands of dollars. And what do? Charge me if I'm doing something wrong. You charge me. You charge me or send it over to the court and let the court decide. But you don't take matters in your hand and treat, business, micro business. What about, I'm just trying to see if I can set something up for my little boy. My son who is 12 years old. He's a Caymanian. You understand? And if we don't do something for these young Caymanians right now, what's going to happen to them in the future? I mean, everything is going to all these multi-billionaires who are buying up everything here. Yeah, what are we going to do for them? You understand? And the government putting these kind of unnecessary pressure on small business like that. Can you imagine? Couple of vehicles and you have to be paying lawyers to get vehicles out, and there's no... Listen, man, I'm upset because this is crazy.
I guess those listening would have heard more than what was said. For those who didn't, rewind. Thank you, sir. I trust you get that resolve. And with that, maybe an opportune time to take a short break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Join the Alex Panton Foundation for our 5th annual Youth Mental Health Symposium, taking place on Saturday, 19th of February from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., featuring an impressive lineup of speakers and panels discussing our theme, Thriving in Uncertain Times. This year's event will be streamed via the Alex Panton Foundation Facebook page. Visit alexpantonfoundation.ky to learn more. Sponsored in part by DART, 3T, Burger King, Popeyes, Tower, and Compass Media.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks for joining us. And as I call it, as relayed, perhaps there are things to still be addressed. Let's take this other call. Welcome, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon.
And to you, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Am I still entitled to call in?
Well, if Susan gives you permission, you know that can't be taken away from you. That's better than status.
Sterling, how are you doing today?
Very thankful. How about yourself?
Thankful. What I'm calling you in regards to Sterling, I was listening to Mr. Loxley for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know anything about politics, and I don't know anything about war, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to say this. Here we are in the Sweet Baby Island, worried about bringing this into law and that into law, and not even trying to think and worry what's going to happen if anything breaks out worldwide in Europe, America, wherever it may happen. You understand? Knowing that we depend on everything from overseas except for Tortuga rum cake. And we can get tired of eating Tortuga rum cake if you have to live off of that for a while. But what I'm trying to say is that, the time that we run our mouth in regards to trying to make marijuana law here in Cayman and worrying about this COVID booster and shots and, and so forth, we need to try to focus on where we are going in the future with this island, knowing that we don't have anything to sustain us, a small amount of farming, a few cows and goats, but not enough to take us through if America decides to keep their food from us, China and everywhere else, decide to keep their stuff from us. Then what do we have, Sterling? We have practically nothing to a degree. Whatever's in the warehouses here, when that is finished, is finished. You understand? So we need to try to be more realistic in where we're going, where they're coming to surviving in this country. Because let me tell you something, I think some hard days are coming for the whole world. On these small islands like Cayman, for example, we're gonna catch fire. We're gonna be in a place that we're not gonna be able to buy, or we're not gonna have anything to buy to a degree. And if you're one of those that if you can't have steak, you're not going to eat pork and bean and rice. Well, I can eat both. You understand? So we have to learn to adjust. And then we said that the grocery stores are so expensive. If you know that you go to the grocery store and you like strawberries, and the strawberries are extremely high right at this weekend. Well, if you like cherries, buy the cherries. If you like pineapple, buy pineapple. But don't criticize the man's price on the strawberries. You didn't know what took him to get them here to this island, and didn't know the stress that he went through trying to find food for this island that we call home. These grocery store people are bringing in everything that they can bring to feed us. Our population is growing rapidly. And we have a lot of people here who is picky and choosy, including myself. But when it comes to pork and bean and rice and plantain and bread, I'm not ashamed of that. That will fool you. You understand? But we got some that if they can't get a steak, if they can't get a lobster, they don't want to eat. If they can't get a beer, they won't drink a glass of lemonade. I mean, Cayman has changed. And it has changed for the worst degree. We just throw out all our little small island things that we was normally used to. If we can't get a Pepsi, we ain't drinking water. You know what I mean? So I just want to say this afternoon, Sterling, this thing about trying to make marijuana illegal in Cayman and worrying about this COVID and not doing this and not doing that, and God got me and so forth. Ain't nothing wrong with God having. God got all of us. He has every one of us in His hands. So I just want to say today that we need to wake up and try to work and think of where we're going, when it's coming to material, food, gas, and you name it, for this island down in the road coming these years, because they're not looking good. I just want to leave that with you. And Sterling, one more thing. I want to tell you, I love you to death, and I want you to know that you are just a radio host at Radio Cayman, and don't you take none of us personal when we call you, and you cannot heal all our problems, and you cannot answer all our problems. You just got to hang in and pray for us.
Wow. Thank you because sometimes, we forget that we're only human, and, our love and concern and compassion for others so deep that we want to help. So maybe that's good to hear again, Thank you, Mom.
Bye. You take care.
And to you as well. And to the caller, I think as the caller and the others shared, I think the resounding word that we are hearing increasing is love. And maybe if you have a greater sense of unity and a dose of humility, we might actually find that in there is civility, there's compassion, and there's a sense of, being, what's the country song? Humble and kind. The notion that, we don't have to necessarily, how do I put it? Let me paint you a picture. There are those of us who have the impression that Jesus is this, pastor, this easygoing fellow. The image that I have when he goes into the temple and the guys are carrying around, I'm sure he probably spoke to them before about it. And he didn't go in there, barely, audible, very meek, and telling them, "Oh, please behave." He went there with a few stern words, according to how the scriptures are interpreted. He turned over the tables and told them in no uncertain terms, "Don't let me ever come back and find you carrying on like this up in here again. Or you gotta be, that'll be so nice." And I think they got the impression from them that, geez, if he thought this was nice, I wouldn't want to see him when he real upset. And I think that's part of the challenge. It isn't that we need to be physically assertive, but sometimes you need to demonstrate. The question is, when that happens, how is that perceived? And in that time, what do we do as a result and take the instruction as corrective behavior? I'm honored and blessed to have, some people in my life, one of recent addition that, as I've shared, the words are never malicious. The truth can be liberating and instructive if you're willing to take it on board, and if when it's said, it's to help you to be the better you. Too many times, we don't necessarily want to say something to someone, even though we think it would be beneficial for them to hear it, because we don't want to risk losing a friend or offending someone. But what would be worse? Down the road, we say to them, "Boy, I could have told you so." Kind of late then, huh? Maybe we tell them now, and if we're not sure, I don't know about you, but how many times have I said things to people lovingly and kindly, at least what I thought, when really that was the furthest thing from what they heard. It's how you say it sometimes, it's when you say it, it's even to whom you say it. But if you can share with someone, and as the lady just shared, let's take on board and draw alongside each other, be each other's keepers. Let's tear down the walls. We go back to just in recent times, depending on the media's account or where you sit on the side of history, U.S. President Reagan's words to, the then President Gorbachev, we have to appreciate that maybe, what we're hearing, what we've seen, what we're told isn't always, the same perspective from the other side of the table. But if it's about coming together, have you ever sat by a table and see someone, just eat everything on their plate, or see someone as they eat, before they put the fork in, they offer it up. You share, you break bread, you fellowship. What is it that the place is? Come let us sup. S-U-P. Well, 949-8037. Toll free the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Or WhatsApp 925-3261. And let's take this other caller. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. What's up, man?
Lot of media hype.
Say again?
Lot of media hype. Russians operating on their own territory.
Mm-hmm.
And the Russian president saying he's not invading. I mean, who you listen to?
Yeah.
And man can't operate on his own property no more. We marching to 2030, buddy.
Yeah. But
you don't own nothing. And you're happy.
Is that what it takes to be happy?
Well, that's the plan.
I mean, there are those who have signed, a particular undertaking that they're going to leave this world as they came in with nothing, right? But
everybody.
Yeah. But the question is, right, how many people is only doing that on paper when really their assets have shifted from, a corporate entity to some charitable foundation, and they still enjoy the trappings of their wealth? Are they like the scriptures, take up their cross and follow me? I mean, are they willing to give up all that they have to share, with the poor, the downtrodden, those destitute, those who may not have as much? Are you feeding the hungry, clothing the,
But I mean, think about it. Is the Russian president not okay to patrol his own land, his own borders, exercise anywhere within his territory he wants?
But then you would think, right, as I listen to you, that when some people do something, it's okay. But if somebody else does something even remotely similar, there's a problem, right? We don't want you to do this in our backyard, but we can come do it in yours. Right?
Correct.
Whatever that is. So let's go back to a couple of callers before you, the little gentleman with great respect, right? Who shares with us that, even Lenin talked about, there will be these wars when there's division. Is that the problem? We are so focused on me and mine and getting more at the expense of others that we're not looking to build unity. I mean, collaboration, cooperation seems to be only for those who are assembled around the table in order to share the spoils of their, conquest.
Well, again, I mean, I guess I watch the news like everyone else, and I see the foreign minister say we're not going to invade. I hear all the Western media saying they're invading, but anyways, that's just what I wanted to say.
No, man, thank you for sharing that. And like the caller, perhaps like many callers, let's understand that we will probably be many times at odds with those we love dearest. But if we recognize that no matter how we look differently, some are one height and some are much taller. Some look this way and that way, from here, from there. But at the end of the day, we're probably, right, at least I think so, more alike than we are not, right? And at the end of the day, we all probably, at least I think so, want the same thing. A safe, loving, kind place where we can lay our head, walk, exercise, raise our children, work. Maybe there's a certain level of ambition, an expectation in us in terms of our achievement, our goals and aspirations, whether that's, material wealth or other. But if that society is a safe one, politically stable, socially harmonious, one where, through your entrepreneurial endeavors, maybe your charitable undertakings, or we can see a good seed being planted, nourished, and someday bearing great fruit. Would that not be a better society? Now, in there is probably going to be a sense of discipline and correction, where some people have to be encouraged, to use a nice term, a little bit more than others. But we all need one thing, a sense of love. And if we can have that, then maybe we can have it all. Because I'm not sure about anybody else, but the day you're no longer in the land of the living, I don't think, and the pharaohs probably will prove us right, you can't take it with you. No matter how much they say, I don't believe we're going to make any difference on that day. But one thing is for sure, those who remain will have to endure. And perhaps it's that legacy of a loving, caring, nurturing, kind person who stood, for what was right. Maybe that'll be the sustaining thing. All right. Tomorrow's what day, Miss Susan? The day after today? All right. So that means on a Wednesday, as it is on a Monday and a Friday, you can start your day off with the most excellent company of Mr. Art Connor for the record. And come back for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. The youth services unit, has the youth flex in the afternoon. So here we are, community station, engaging, informing, hopefully entertaining, enlightening, and above all, being respectful and responsible in all of our endeavors. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Cayman,
The voice.
the heart.